myself. Yeah. I'm feeling myself.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Loose Ends. I'm Cece.
I'm Val.
And I have a little frog in my throat today that it seems to have taken up residence, so there's that. So if I'm like sounding, I think it's the tail end of whatever I've had for a couple of weeks, you know? So, so we just stepped downstairs. We had so much fun last Sunday, taping on a Sunday, that...
Yeah, just by chance I got the night off or the day off today.
Yeah,
so.
and she got the day off. So we thought we'd tape again.
Yeah.
And so we decided we would talk about some of the words, you know, the penchant for words that we have, the importance we place on them, some of the famous quotes or other people's words that have inspired us or motivated us or soothed us over the years. We thought we'd share some of them. So I'm down in the studio getting everything ready, which is what I do, and I look around trying to find my book of quotes. Quotes.
What's a quote?
A quote is a book of quotes. It's a whole bunch of them, like a flock of geese.
I thought it might be German.
Yeah. And so here I'm showing it right now. This is my book that I have calligraphied over the years. Some of things falling out. Some of my favorites, different categories, just all kinds of quotes. Not going to read them all, promise. So I sit down, and here she comes.
And I have the exact same book. It's
With
just
hers.
slightly a different color, but it's all
Hers is
mine.
burgundy, mine's black, and it's the exact same book.
Yeah.
I did not even know this.
I know, it's weird, eh?
It is so
Synchronicity.
weird. I know. So we're going to have some fun today, sharing some of our favorite quotes, because that kind of synchronicity is usually indicative of keep going.
That's right.
All right, so let me start then. How about that? And I'm going to start with the one that is on the inside cover of my book, which, look, you've got one too, right? Or,
Well, just a little.
And it says, "To the illuminated mind, the whole world burns and sparkles with light." Ralph Waldo Emerson said that. And to me, not only do I enjoy calligraphing that, there's something around the word illuminated that is on an imagery level, somehow unconsciously, it's a kissing cousin to illustrated, illuminated. You know, books that are illuminated with gold ink or that kind of thing. So there's that piece of it that kind of resonates with me. And the undercurrent of it is about choosing at some level to see what life is out there that does
What
burn
magic
and sparkle.
is it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
get
think
that.
it has encouraged me anyway, to be more willing to look for little bits of light, little things that could sparkle, like if you take time to notice them.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And so I've even, and then I'll let you talk here, because I'm just having fun. So I'm realizing now that how much this actually has been a theme in my life for a while. Here's an example of a bookmark I made. Yep, and calligraphy to the illuminated mind. The whole world burns and sparkles with light. I believe I gave those
To your siblings last year.
Did I?
I think so.
I know I gave them to a team too at a program. I think probably the Joy class a few years back. Anyway, that's my first one. What about you? You got, what's your...
Most of my
I'm not
quotes,
ranking
which
these.
is interesting, come from musical lyrics.
Really?
Yeah,
you know,
like the bulk of mine.
I didn't even go there as a category.
But
I've got
see,
some.
that's what I've got written in here is things that have really, changed me.
Okay.
Lines
Give me
that.
an example.
Okay, so I'm 22 years old. I'm living in Switzerland. I start listening to this band called Vio con Dios, and they're like, they're from Holland, but they have very Spanish influence, right? And the Spanish guitar, and and she's got a really raspy voice, and she writes this song, and I remember listening to it, and the one line in it was, there ain't no money and there ain't nobody that can buy you peace of mind. And in that moment, I knew whatever was going to happen in my life, it was up to me to get there and not to rely on anybody else. You know?
Yeah.
Because even if I got to a place of great money, it was still never going to buy me peace of mind unless I worked that out. You know? And I knew that. And I'm at that place where now more money comes into my life because I'm not there anymore. You know, I don't need, money is not a threat to me.
Yeah.
You know, a threat
or
to
a
my
lesson to be learned.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
about it
exactly.
To be learned.
Yeah. So what's your next one?
I don't know. All of a sudden, I just looked at my list and went, which I meant to go get the actual ones, but To the Illuminated Mind was my first one. Another one, and that's where I was going in my book, is somewhere in here is the one about ships in the harbor are safe, but that's not what ships are built for. You know, and
Right.
every so often,
That's a good one.
I know, I'll find out who it is.
Yeah.
It's somewhere. I've got it. I've used it many times, and somebody listening probably knows, and it's in here somewhere, but I can't read it while I'm trying to talk. The idea of purpose, finding what we were built for, because not even all ships are equal in terms of size or speed or ability to carry certain loads or the depth that they take up. I mean, you know, there's a lot of different kinds of boats out there. And I think it's important to kind of figure out, well, because I think we waste a lot of time wishing we were some kind of other boat than we are. You know, like
Yes,
a
yes.
tugboat
Well,
can
yeah, like-
wish he's an ocean liner all he wants, but he ain't going to grow up to be one.
Right.
So, like, embrace the fact that you get to push that ocean liner out to sea. You know, I kind of figure I should do a little. There's got to be a children's book that's got a little tugboat that's a cartoon pushing out the big steam push.
I thought that was a train.
Okay, there
Wasn't
might be a
it?
train.
Yeah, it was
too.
a train.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Okay,
something like that.
I digress.
Okay.
So that idea.
I love that.
Of not being afraid
Yes,
to
I love
identify
that.
what you were built for and to, if you will, to extend the analogy, sail toward it, you know, into deeper waters. But that's scary.
Yeah.
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 My first relationship, I was very emotional all the time. You know, if we got into a fight, I became very emotional at work and a lot of times had to leave work. And one day,
I don't find this difficult to believe at all.
Oh, well,
Back
no,
then.
but I'm not back then.
Back
yes,
then.
because I'm not that person
Yeah.
today.
No.
Because of this quote, I remember one day having a big fight and thinking, okay, great, I'm going into work again to disappoint these people. And something,
Disappoint who?
my workers, the people I work with.
Because
Because
you
I'm
had
a mess.
fight
Because
at
I'm a
work?
mess and I don't feel like I
Gotcha,
can work,
gotcha,
right?
Gotcha.
And something inside of me, and I had been listening to a song by Billie Holiday on tape.
Yeah, you love her.
I do. On my way to work that day. And it just came on and it just like I caught this line. And I remember it was so significant to me. I'm going to pack my blues up on the very highest shelf. I'm going to pack my blues up and get wise to myself.
Yeah.
And I stood up. I somehow put it in a box in my head and went, I'm not letting you bother me anymore.
Uh-huh.
And I went to work and it changed me. It changed me because I learned not to let people get me to that place.
Get wise to yourself being, to me anyway, the primary phrase, the operative phrase of like a jack that gets you up and out of the mud. You know, in the back of your car.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing.
Yeah. Like it propels you because the last thing I ever wanted to be seen as was a weak person. And I was beginning to see myself as that in that relationship, right? So, you know, these were like the small steady steps of getting ready to leave your ass sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And be, more mindful to me and my life. And the thing is, as after that relationship, I didn't get into another relationship for 7 years. Like I did get wise to myself. And so I think it was significant.
People, a little side detour here, but in my work, and I'm sure in your lifetime and in your work, you've seen this pattern of people who are afraid to be alone, that they are,
Yeah.
That fear of growing old alone, I suppose, is something that they borrow from, being 85 years old and bring it back down to being 32. And have this kind of sense of bouncing from relationship to relationship. I think one of the healthiest things you can do, especially after a quote breakup or the end of a marriage or etc., is to be alone intentionally, without any sexual activity and without any kind of dating, nothing.
Right.
Just getting to know, as you say, be wise to yourself. I like befriending yourself.
Yeah.
Grow into yourself, grow into your skin, figure out some shit, and then you're going to choose the next relationship from a much healthier place.
And knowing myself the way I do, I am just not made up that way anyway. Like, I can't do a rebound thing. I'm too immersed in the person I was with, and I know that takes time for me to get over.
Gotcha.
So I find it very confusing to watch my past partners get into relationships so quick.
Boing, boing.
Boing, boing.
Oh, well, I did that once, so I can relate. So
I've never been able to do that.
I think it has to do with the level of pain and the level of comfort one is seeking. It's a salve, if you've got a slice physically, you're going to want some pressure and something to help close
That's
it, right?
exactly how I see it.
And
exactly.
so that's what a rebound is, I
Yeah.
think, emotionally.
Yeah.
And it gives you that illusion of being desired, which after a breakup, I think, for both genders, doesn't matter, but, as young women, young men, and young, of course, is anything under 45 these
Pretty
days,
much, yeah.
but that it cuts at your ego.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone young like that has learned, or even has a desire to learn primarily, about their ego, about its desire for control, about its insatiable appetite if you don't learn to quench it early.
Yeah.
Which won't happen before 45.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little later in life.
What's your next quote?
One that I use on the front sheet of the easel board, on which I conduct the trust program. The real journey of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but rather in developing new eyes. Seeing through new eyes is actually the quote. And that is also by Emerson. Deep thinker that he was, living alone out in the woods and the fields and the ponds. I mean, he had I long for that kind of a lifestyle. Oh yeah. I could easily be a hermit.
Yeah,
except
me
that
too.
I know that it's not good for me.
Too.
It would not be good for me at all. We need interaction. I get it through clients.
Yeah.
And that primarily, and this social media thing, when not taken to an extreme and used as an illusion for connection, because I have real connections with real people that I see.
Yeah, me too.
And I have a very large family, so that covers my needs right there most of the time, and you and a few good friends, and that's it. The older you get, the more
it's true. The smaller your circle becomes, right?
Yeah. So that's the idea of seeing with new eyes. To me, has to do with, if you will, I remember, I'm going to kind of link two things here. Way back when, you'll know the year, Quincy Jones, who just recently died, right?
Yeah.
Quincy Jones put together the We Are the World.
1984.
84, 86.
Yeah. No,
84?
I think it was 84 or 85, because or it was 85, 86 because
it was in the mid 80s.
yeah, 85 was the English version.
Okay, well, in the mid 80s when that came out, I totally forgot.
Quincy Jones.
Yeah, Quincy Jones, but I forgot what I was going to say about it.
Wow.
So it was the mid 80s. And when Quincy Jones got all these superstars together, he said, leave your ego at the door. Put a sign up, leave your ego at the door. Because these are all like,
Big names,
superstars.
Michael Jackson, Madonna. No, I
Everybody,
don't think Madonna did it.
I don't know, it doesn't matter. But everybody who was anybody at the time, mid 80s,
Yeah.
from Diana Ross
Yeah.
to Huey Lewis to
Everybody.
Michael Jackson, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
So these are the faces and the sounds, the voices of the 80s. Leave your ego at the door. That gets harder to do as at a certain age. Remember I said younger. But as one ages, I think it becomes a requirement to shed the weight of it.
Right.
It becomes burdensome.
Yeah.
Ego does. And so seeing with new eyes, for me anyway, is part of that.
Yeah.
Of being able to visit places, not physically, but intellectually, emotionally, and being willing to look through new eyes. And I will see something different if I go in with that.
Totally.
So that was an impactful quote for me that I finally fucking figured out what I was going to say about it.
My next would be from Sade. And it's one simple line, and I really resonate to it. I want to cook you a soup that warms your soul.
Oh, how wonderful.
I know.
Oh, I don't remember.
I just love that song, and I love that line, and I embody it. Like I try to when I cook, and I love the idea of that whole warming your soul. That's just such a fun idea to me.
Chocolate.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's your next one?
Okay. Well, why don't we each do one more, and then
I got two more.
Okay, you got.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got 85.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of letting
Totally.
intuition take me after the first couple that were.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm just flipping through. Some are born great, some acquire greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Shakespeare said that, and I've always thought that true. That some people are just born great, and I know a few.
Yeah.
They're just heads
no,
and
I
shoulders
agree.
above,
100%.
intellectually,
Yeah.
emotionally, professionally, personally. They do, they marry movie stars and stay married for 50 years, and I think Bon Jovi comes to mind as a professional. And then there are people that I actually know, and then there are some that through disciplined hard work and willpower move up a ladder, whatever ladder it is they've chosen, or create a circle of excellence, i.e. like an artist, which doesn't really think about climbing a ladder, but rather expressing themselves more completely and authentically. And then there are those who just have greatness thrust upon them. And I think of Zelensky over in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what he signed up for.
No.
But hasn't he just
stepped into it
up?
Yeah.
Right? So that's one.
Okay.
Go ahead, and then I'll.
So years ago, Toronto used to have this thing called Speaker's Corner. And they were little.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a box right outside Much Music or City TV, and they had a few boxes in different areas, and you could go and sit down and say something or sing or whatever. It literally it made the Bare Naked Ladies' career. That's where they started. They sang "If I Had $1 Million" on Speaker's Corner, and they got a record contract.
No kidding.
Yes. So I went on Speaker's Corner and I did this quote, which is anonymous, and I had found it at around the time that I went to the trust program, I believe, and it
in
was
the early aughts.
in the early aughts, yes. And I really love this one because it's accurate to me. It's very accurate. Be careful of your thoughts, for they create your words. Be careful of your words, for they create your actions. Be careful of your actions, for they create your habits. Be careful of your habits, for they create your character. Be careful of your character, it creates your destiny. And that is accurate. So I, a long time ago, decided to start monitoring my thoughts, which made me monitor my words, which then made me monitor my actions and then my habits. And I have become a person that I wanted to be back then. And it's really nice to be here.
That's isn't that a lovely thing to be able to say? Mean, because I think that's what we all are desiring, and that's why we do this podcast, all 11 subscribers on YouTube.
There you go,
guys. If you haven't subscribed, do so. We're climbing up the ladder, I'll tell you what.
With no ego. With no ego at all, obviously.
We had to give it up when the ladder was too steep, and neither one of us was strong enough anymore.
Oh, that's funny.
I will finish with one that it ties in again with a song.
Okay.
Years ago, and we are going way back. First Divorce, crushing experience. Being inspired by I'm Gonna Fly by
R. Kelly.
No,
not that one.
No.
Oh, can you imagine?
What is her name? She came out of the Christian market.
Not Ava.
No, but Amy
Grant. Oh, Grant. Amy Grant. Okay.
So Amy Grant's I'm Gonna Fly, and all of my friends, it starts like this because this is how I have a song, but it's not the actual quote that I'm going to quote. At the beginning, very quietly, she says, before the music really starts pumping in, she goes, all of my friends are happy to stay here in this playground day after day. But something inside me is calling my name. I don't understand it, but I know I can't stay. And then, then comes the drums and the guitar. And she starts singing, I'm going to fly. And no one knows where. I'm going to fly. I'm higher than air because I can see for the first time. I can be myself. No more faces to hide behind. Just a smile and a dream that's mine. Even if I am the only one who wants to fly. Woo! Surprise, surprise. I am back 35 years ago, standing in front of a dryer as I take out children's clothing and fold it up as I know my life is imploding, listening to this song on an old-fashioned headset. Woo! And I realize, as you were saying, I've grown into the person I wanted to be, and how delightful an experience that is. Well, there's an equal and opposite side, which is to realize the depths from which one has flown out of. So here's my last quote. And it says, Leonardo da Vinci said this one.
Okay.
And it goes, once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. And there's something spiritual about that for me in the notion of understanding from whence I originated according to my own personal belief system. Right? No way to prove any of that. So that's my last quote. Do you have a final quote?
I do, and mine is not a lyric, but it's a quote by Bob Marley that he made in an interview. Okay? Truth is, everyone is going to hurt you. You just have to figure out the ones who are worth suffering for.
Oh.
Love me some Bob. Let me tell you. Love me some Bob. Everything about Bob was just love and light.
Yeah. Special soul.
Bit of a womanizer, but
Well, we all have,
we all have our issues.
We all have our things.
But yes, spreading love and
you
light,
know,
love, Bob.
Giving up chocolate would, I mean, I wouldn't be who I am, right? I mean, there are things.
Too
Have you
funny.
a feel-good story?
I
A good
do.
story
I have
this
a
week?
feel-good story this week. So this is a really fun story because back in 1977, we have
That was the year I got married.
really. Aw.
I mean, to
I
the
was
father of my
7.
children.
I was 7. Oh, that's funny. Oh, yes, I was 7. Okay. So in 1977, what was his name? Let's find out his name. His name was Frederick Morgan Periego. Okay, and he's from Canada, went to McMaster University. He's a professor. He's 36 years old at the time, and he goes to Barbados with his son and his family. And the big wave comes while he's in the ocean, and he goes to grab his son. His son goes to grab him and grabs his class ring and loses it. And they spent hours looking for it back in 1977. Okay, so fast forward now 47 years. A gentleman who also is an alumni of McMaster University
Same university,
but a different year, go in the water as a professional free diver, and he has a metal detector, and he finds the ring, and he recognizes that it's from his school, and he calls the office because it has his like initials. And then the year. So they go back and they find it, and on his 84th birthday, he gets the ring in the mail.
Oh my God!
I know.
Oh,
I know.
that.
It's such a great story. And
how long had it been missing? Did they tell?
47 years.
47 years. Oh my
47
God.
years, and it was
Talk
ruby and gold.
You know what though? If that happened to me, I might be thinking, oh, that's kind of like the invitation to the party of death.
Really?
Full circle completion, Oh,
Well,
the ring
yeah,
came
I
back.
guess.
All right,
I guess I could see that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I love the story. Though.
I know,
love the
right?
story, and I'm sorry to bring in the whole death thing, but there.
But
it is.
yeah, like I thought it was, and it was, it happened like in Canada and Barbados. But
That's
just
great.
how ironic that an alumni would find it and go,
No, it's just serendipitous.
right,
Just
right.
beyond.
So that's our good
coincidence.
story of the week.
Well, thank you very much for joining
had
us
fun.
once again. We hope we hope you learned a little bit, laughed a little bit, and are leaving feeling a little bit lighter.
And
ready
put
to-
your quotes in your favorite quotes in the comments. We'd
Sure.
love to know what they are.
I mean, we'd love to have a comment.
Yeah.
I think we've had one. Anyway, have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.